Nishing Nish Nishiguchi Yoshinori. Nishinguchi Yoshinori. Yoshinguchi Yoshinori. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Monday means it's Modern Monday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we got a super spicy combo list to check out today. I'm calling this one Dubious Champion. And it comes to us from Nishinguchi Yoshinori, who took it to an undefeated finish in a small Japanese tournament. So congrats to Yoshinori on a super cool deck. A quick reminder before we break down Dubious Champion for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Dubious Champion combines a deck that we played a long time ago, Dubious Challenge, with a sweet new card that people have asked me about a lot but hasn't really seen any play. Anyway, let's talk about it, starting with the Dubious part of the deck. So Dubious Challenge is super weird. Basically, for 4 mana, you cast a sorcery, you get to look at the top 10 cards of your deck, you choose up to 2 creatures, they get exiled, your opponent gets to choose 1, they get to choose first. So whichever 2 creatures you choose, your opponent gets choice A of those creatures. They get it under their control. You get whatever is left over. So the trick to Dubious Challenge is somehow building your deck to break the fact that your opponent gets first choice. So, let's say you flip Dubious Challenge, and you get an Emrakul and Iona. Your opponent's going to get the first choice. They're going to take the Emrakul, you get the Iona. Hooray, your opponent annihilates away your board, you lose. But there are some ways, with careful deck building, that you can break the choice of Dubious Challenge. So first off, our goal in this deck is to cast Dubious Challenge as quickly as possible. Just turn 4 is pretty slow for Modern. So for this, we have a few different options. First off, the combo of Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl. Just one of these cards lets us cast Dubious Challenge on turn 3. If we get our nut draw and have both of these cards, Arbor Elf on turn 1, Utopia Sprawl on turn 2, we get 4 extra mana where we can actually just turn 2 a Dubious Challenge and potentially get a turn 2 massive finisher to win the game. Simian Spirit Guide just speeds it up. If we have only one of Arbor Elf for Utopia Sprawl, normally that would be a turn 3 Dubious Challenge, but if we can exile our Simian Spirit Guide for that 1 extra mana, we can do it on turn 2. So that is the biggest plan of this deck. Cast Dubious Challenge on turn 2. Hopefully that just wins us the game. So how do we actually break this symmetry of Dubious Challenge? And we have a couple of options that we're trying to hit. So we need to hit 2 distinct groups of creatures. First off, to win the game, we gotta hit a finisher. Emrakul's number 1. Iona's also really good. There's more in the sideboard. It's really good in certain matchups. Not as good as Emrakul in general. So when we cast Dubious Challenge, look at our top 10 cards, we need to hit one of these 2 cards if we're gonna win the game off of it. If we whiff on one of these 2 cards, we can still get some value, but to win the game, we need an Emrakul or an Iona, and then we also need something from group B, which is Flicker Wisp or Brooding Surian. So how this works is we cast our Dubious Challenge. Let's say we get Emrakul as our finisher, and then we get a Flicker Wisp as our second creature. If our opponent chooses Emrakul, Flicker Wisp enters, flickers Emrakul, we get the Emrakul and the Flicker Wisp. If our opponent chooses Flicker Wisp, sure, they got a free Flicker Wisp, but we don't really care because we have an Emrakul, and Flicker Wisp, not going to beat Emrakul. Brooding Surian is the same way. If our opponent chooses Emrakul, then we get the Brooding Surian. At the end of our turn, we get to gain control of the Emrakul. If our opponent chooses Brooding Surian, sure, you get a 4/4 for free, but we have Emrakul. Emrakul beats a 4/4. So that's kind of the plan of the deck. The cool addition to this deck, we've seen Dubious Challenge decks before, is Champion of Rhonas. So Champion of Rhonas gives us another 4 mana way to put an Emrakul, to put an Iona into play, this time from our hand. So we can do the same thing we were talking about with Dubious Challenge. Cast it on turn 2, the Champion of Rhonas, with the help of Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, or with our Simian Spirit Guides. And then we gotta wait to untap, so we hopefully dodge the Lightning Bolt, dodge the Terminates and Dreadbores and whatnot. Attack with Champion of Rhonas. When we attack, we exert it, and we just get to slam the Emrakul or the Iona or whatever into play for free, which is super sweet. We can also, in the worst case scenario, which is kind of sweet too, we can attack with our Champion of Rhonas. If we don't have, let's say, the Emrakul, we can put Flicker Wisp into play for free, flicker the Champion of Rhonas, which gets rid of the exert downside, so then the next turn, we can attack again, exert again, maybe we draw our Emrakul, win the game that way. So Champion of Rhonas really spicy cool backup way to get something huge on the battlefield if we don't have access to Dubious Challenge. So kind of 8 Dubious Challenges, except Champion of Rhonas also helps take care of the problem of having our big finisher stuck in hand. The rest of the deck, Serum Powder, fits with the all-in nature of the deck. It's a really weird card. On one hand, it can help us ramp into our Dubious Challenge. Not great at that, but it can work that way. But the big thing here is when we draw our opening 7, if we have a Serum Powder and we don't like the rest of our hand, we can just exile our hand, redraw. So this helps make sure we have that nut draw as consistently as possible. We're gonna, as often as possible, cast the turn 2 Dubious Challenge. So if we don't have Dubious Challenge or enough ramp in our hand, we just exile it with the Serum Powder, start over again. Hopefully our next hand is better. So it's just a way to get free redraws for that nut draw. Dose of the Falling Leaf looks pretty strange, but it makes sure our opponent can't disrupt us on our turn. So our opponent can't dispel or negate or cryptic command our Dubious Challenge, our Champion of Rhonas. And then Eidolon of Rhetoric, kind of just main deck Storm Hate, I guess. Kind of odd. I'm not sure the exact combo in this deck. I don't really see any specific synergy, but if you're worried about Storm or people casting a bunch of spells in turn, Eidolon of Rhetoric, pretty good there. Mana base, Besage You with Shelters All. Another way to make sure that our Dubious Challenge is uncounterable. Bunch of fetch lands, bunch of shock lands, some basic lands. As far as the sideboard, we have some more stuff that fits the theme of the deck. So against monocolor deck or even some 2-color decks, Iona is really, really good. Against Burn, for example, Iona is often better than Emrakul because we still have to untap with the Emrakul to attack and annihilate. Iona, we name red, our opponent can't cast their Burn spell, so it's like winning the game right away instead of winning the game after waiting a turn. So in certain matchups, we want to go up more Ionas over the Emrakuls. Quicksilver Amulet gives us another Champion of Rhonas, potentially, where we can just slam a creature into play from our hand. A little bit more expensive, 4 to cast, 4 to activate, but it roughly works the same as a Champion of Rhonas. A bunch of ways to deal with artifacts and enchantments, and that's some more specific hate. Rest in Peace for Graveyards, Crumble to Dust primarily for Tron, Eidolon of Rhetoric for Storm and other big turn combo decks, and that is Dubious Champion for Modern. And that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.